Do it now.
And welcome back to the latest and greatest episode of the Shaving Points podcast. My name is Jayton May. You can find me on Twitter at jmay56, and I'm joined by my co-host, as always, Quentin Crisco. How are we doing tonight, Quentin?
Having a wonderful night, Jay. Wonderful night. But I'm getting a little tired. Preseason football. I just want the real thing, you know? It's like you get so amped up. So you're like, it's back. It's here. And then you're like, it's not.
Yeah, but overs have been hitting like crazy, and we only have 3 weeks of preseason these days, so that is also nice. And getting to see some good young guys out there, and then I think this weekend is kind of like the dress rehearsal, so we'll see starters for a first half. Yeah. So, I mean, we're almost there. I mean, we're getting there.
Inching along.
We got Hard Knocks, second episode, not as good as the first, but still, all in all, one of the better first 2 episodes of Hard Knocks in a long time. Looks like they're focusing on guys that are maybe not as well known, but still should make the team, instead of following around like a goat that you know that's not going to make the team, that you're just like, oh man, this guy, I feel bad for him. Like David Blau might get cut, but that other kid, Rodrigo, he looks like he's going to make a roster spot, 6th-round pick. I don't know, Oklahoma State, looking like a stud. Yeah. And then we got to see Amon-Ra St. Brown and his crazy father. So that was awesome. Catch 202 balls a day. And his dad sitting in the stands. And then they brought up Aiden Hutchinson. He's like, oh, yeah, Aiden's family's sitting up in the suites. And the very next scene, you see Aiden Hutchinson's family up in the suites. So that was a little funny. And then the camera's still, like, they're just giving so much unnecessary screen time to his mom and sisters. It's unreal.
Yeah.
Like, just stop. They didn't even know Marcus Mariota played in the league. Like, just get him off the camera.
You know, speaking of Hard Knocks, you know what they call James Bond taking a bath?
No.
Bubble 07.
Bubble 07. Saw that. Jamal Williams, absolute banger of a line. But this week, gonna do fantasy wide receivers, and I think we're doing PPR rankings, or half PPR.
Yeah, half PPR. I mean, honestly, I haven't even thought that much about the rankings.
It doesn't change. It doesn't change that much.
Yeah, I mean, it just generally trying to rank these guys where I like them, not so much what the scoring system is.
Yeah, we're doing our top 30 tiered into 4 tiers, so we'll break down each tier as we go along. So if you think we missed anybody, let us know in the comments. And if you're watching, make sure to like and subscribe and be able to get all of our content as it comes out. And then you can also go to our website, shaving-points.com, get all of our picks, all of our any write-ups we do, podcast recap, stuff like that.
Do a write-up on every episode. All our graphics are out
website there. So you'll be able to see everything there. Also, we'll have some fire merch for the season. So I think we still have our Kirk Cousins shirts in there. I am Kirk's cousin. It's starting to get a little chilly. It was less than 100 degrees for the first time in Texas since God knows when. Today, 88 degrees. It felt phenomenal. A little bit of humidity.
My car still said 106 when I was driving home.
Oh, well, it's cooling down in West Texas, baby. We had a 30-minute rain sprinkle thing, and so it was 88 with ridiculous humidity here in Midland. So it was worse than it was 103, dry as shit. So yeah, it was miserable. So, but what I'm trying to say, it's cooling off. We have these awesome pullovers, these quarter zips with the little logo on them. Look fantastic. Come with the gold chain. Gold chain may not be included. Got fire hats. So check out the store. Let us know. Support the boys. And let's get into it with starting at tier 4 and working our way up to tier 1. for our number one wide receivers of the year.
Stick around till the end for the sleepers.
Yes, sir. And then, so my tier 4 system. So basically, for me, these are guys that could blow up. They're more of a high flex wide receiver 2 type deal. Like, you're going to start them every week, but you don't want to be left with one of these guys as like your wide receiver 1 or something like that. But they could be guys that have wide receiver 1 potential. So starting out for me at number 30, I have Brandon Cooks. I actually like that offense a little bit in Houston. So I think he's a good veteran. Need to throw the ball to somebody. I think they're going to be able to get the ball out to him. I think he'll have a lot of catches. So 29, Alan Lazard, the lizard man for Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers got to throw the ball to somebody. That's basically my thoughts on Alan Lazard. Hunter Renfrow, absolute catch machine. Only thing, Devontae Adams coming into town, Darren Waller healthy. I think his production drops down a little bit, but I still think he has a high ceiling and probably one of the highest floors on these lower top 30 guys. So I really like Hunter Renfrow a lot. Number 27, Darnell Mooney, another guy that Justin Fields has to throw the ball to somebody. So number 26, Allen Robinson. I think he's in for a big bounce back year. Opposite of Cooper Kupp, and they still have other guy there too. So no, I think Allen Robinson's best. This is by far the best quarterback he's ever played for. I think he could have a big bounce back year. I think he can really be a day in, day out starter for you in fantasy this year. I like Allen Robinson a lot.
Blake Bortles is a legend.
Yeah. 24 and 25 are interchangeable to me. I like both of these guys by themselves, but in that Philadelphia offense, having to split carries, I didn't know who was gonna get the bulk of the catches here. So I have AJ Brown and Devontae Smith here. I'm sure one of them is going to do better than the other. I can't differentiate between the two of them in this offense. So they're both just right there for me. And number 23, he's not my favorite rookie wide receiver, but he's my favorite rookie wide receiver in fantasy because of the scheme that he's in. And that's Treylon Burks taking over that A.J. Brown role in Tennessee. I like his size. I like his speed. I like his strength. I love him in that Tennessee offense. And this is another guy. Somebody's got to catch the ball for him. They don't have a whole lot of talent there at the receiver position. So I really like Treylon Burks, my favorite rookie wide receiver for fantasy because of system and fit. Then number 22, I have Deontay Johnson. Kind of sensing a theme here. Somebody's got to catch the ball there. I really like that rookie they have, Pickens, but don't know what the quarterback play is going to be like. Shaky offensive line, great running back. Don't know how much we're going to get out of Pittsburgh wide receivers this year. You have to think Deontay Johnson's going to get the bulk of the looks in that offense. So, I mean, a lot of these guys, they are here because there ain't nobody else on that team, or there's two guys on the team and they're going to eat each other alive for fantasy production, even though they both might be very good. So that's my tier 4 guys.
Real quick, I'm going to touch on two of your guys who are not on my list. First, Alan Lazard, Lizard Man. Basically, where I was with him, I just don't see him in the top 30 personally because, I mean, he's going to get targets and touches, but I'm just not sure he has much upside beyond that. And that's where, I'd rather have, to me, a guy like Brandon Cooks has more upside with the touches that he's going to get. And then Deontay Johnson, love the player. Do not like him for fantasy this year.
Yeah, I almost left him off this list, but, I mean, he's done it year in and year out so far.
And so my main reason is if Trubisky's starting, and that's what I'm assuming at this point, so that's just what I'm working with.
Yeah.
Deontay Johnson can get separation downfield. Mitch struggles some with the deep ball. He tends to favor big go up and get it targets like Claypool. I almost put Claypool on my top 30 because of it, but I ended up in the same kind of spot. Like even with those touches, like he's just going to be limited by the quarterback and the offense. So I didn't put him in here either. But I struggled with that Pittsburgh offense because I love their receivers. But
yeah, and honestly, in my 22 through 30 here, I mean, I don't see a whole lot of separation between these guys. Like, I just filled out my list, but like if I have these are like 5th round picks to me, 5th, 6th round guys that you're looking at in like a 12-team league, a 10-team league, anywhere between like 5 and 7. And if all these guys are available to me halfway through the 6th round, I'm probably not taking Deontay Johnson. I might take AJ Brown, Devontae Smith over him. Might take Allen Robinson. Who knows? But yeah, I don't really have these like they're in order, but I mean, that's just these tier of guys.
Yeah, I just wanted to explain my thing because I do like both those guys, but you're not going to see them on my top 30 here because they're just outside it. Yeah. Which there was a lot. These were hard to put together. But
yeah, I mean top 30. I mean, you're talking in a 12-team league. You're talking. You might have to use some of these guys that didn't even make the list as your wide receiver too, depending on how you draft. If you go tight end or if you go early running back, and another team goes 3 wide receivers in the first 4 rounds or 4 wide receivers in the first 4 rounds, like you may never even get to see some of these guys as your wide receiver too. So it's just such a deep position. It's hard to put a in on it, a cap on it, basically.
All right, so number 30 here coming in. Last guy on, Bobby Trees. Got that nickname because he's reliable, like an old strong oak tree.
Number 1 recruit in the nation coming out of high school.
Was he? Bobby Trees, my boy. I mean, I just trust him to get numbers. I trust him to get catches. Like you said, in that offense, someone needs to get the ball. And him and Burks are both going to get it some, I think. But I trust Bobby Trees to be more consistent. And once I'm down at the bottom of this list, consistency is a big thing for me. I'll take my home run shots later in the draft. But if I'm sitting here needing a guy, I want a guy who's going to give me 10 points every week. And I think that's Bobby Trees.
Yeah. My only thing is him coming off injury. You never know. But
yeah, that's fair. 29, Rashad Bateman out there in Baltimore with Lamar Jackson. So last season, Rashad Bateman played 5 games with Lamar Jackson. That's it. 5 games together. In those 5 games, he put up 270 yards on 30 targets, 22 catches. That translates to 75 catches and 925 yards over a full season. Lamar Jackson's trying to get paid. I love Rashad Bateman this year. He's high on this list. Like he's higher than he is ADP. Like I am a big fan of the value for Rashad Bateman this year. And those numbers were with Hollywood Brown getting 30% of the targets in that offense. Hollywood's gone. Someone else needs those targets. Rashad Bateman's a dude this year, I swear. Jerry Jeudy, time to show that potential, man. You got a quarterback for your first time ever. It's kind of like Allen Robinson. You got to show it.
You got this guy criminally low.
I like him this year. I just don't like the reliability. I like Cortland Sutton more than him. Is really where I'm at with it. I think Cortland Sutton's going to get more of a lion's share.
I'll get to my analogy later on those 2 receivers, but you have him criminally low.
Okay. Devontae Smith. I loved him last year. This year, I'm a bit more lukewarm on him. They just paid AJ Brown. The guy they paid is going to get his targets. He's going to get his looks. What Philly's building there, it's so multiple. They can go heavy. They can go spread. They can do so many things. And so much of that relies around A.J. Brown and who he is as a player, his strength, his speed, the fact that he is not limited in any system. And I think that's going to hurt Devontae Smith a little bit because Devontae Smith, I don't think, can play in that same type of heavy offense.
I think Jalen Hurts hurts Devontae Smith more than A.J. Brown does. But
well, yeah, but I mean, if we're comparing to last year, Jalen Hurts was there last year too. Hunter Renfrow. So I actually am a bit of a different ass. If they didn't go get Devontae, I wouldn't like Renfrow as much. But they're going to be able to clear out that box, get him shots over the middle where he can go get yards after the catch. Like
all he does is get open
in recent years.
All that dude does is get open.
Yeah, and now there's going to be more attention elsewhere than on him, and he already has a good relationship with Carr. Carr loves the guy. Like,
Yeah,
I think he's still going to get enough targets, maybe
I
not
love
as
that
much as
offense.
last year, but I think
love
his
that
yards
offense.
per catch is going to be a lot better.
Yeah.
25, Juju. I like Juju a lot this year. Someone has to get those targets in KC. I'm worried that Sky Moore is going to eat into his target share later in the year, but
It don't matter. In that
but
offense,
I
it
mean, I
doesn't
think
matter.
he's on a 1-year contract trying to get paid. I think he's the guy there who's going to do well.
Juju's been a top 10 wide receiver before in this league.
Yeah.
He's been stuck in Pittsburgh with a lame duck, Ben Roethlisberger. Like, I think you have him too low, but
I know you do.
we'll get to that later as well.
I mean, like, so part of me wanted to put him higher, but another part of me is just saying, like, be reasonable with your expectations. He hasn't produced in a few years, so there's kind of that, that give and take that I consider with it.
Yeah.
And then Mike Williams, number 24 here. To me, this is just a guy you have to put him on here. I mean, I don't love Mike Williams. He's very touchdown dependent, and he's very. I feel like he's a guy who gets injured every time he steps on a football field, but ends up coming back. Like, he just looks like he's done for the year, and then he comes back and is fine, and that just scares me.
I mean, you could explain anybody on the Chargers team like that.
Yeah, pretty much. And then 23, T. Higgins. I love T. Higgins. I wish I could put him higher, but with Tyler Boyd and Jamar Chase there, I just don't trust his target share, his touchdown share. So he's a little bit lower than I think his
What tight end did they bring in?
Hayden Hurst.
Hayden Hurst.
Okay. Who's going to get – I mean, honestly, he's probably a more reliable pass-catching option than C.J. Uzomah was, but Uzomah was probably a more explosive threat, if that makes sense.
Joe Mixon catches a lot of balls, too.
Yeah, so does Joe Burrow.
Catches a lot of balls?
Yeah, throws them to himself.
Might as well. Somebody's got to. All right, moving on to our tier 3 guys. So these guys are your bona fide wide receiver 2s, and also guys that these guys, my wide receiver 3s. These are your low or your high floor guys. Like, they're not going to be bad, and they have the potential to be great. So that's kind of what my tier 3 is guys you want as your wide receiver 2 that are going to get you points every week. And this is where I had Cooper Kupp last year, a guy that is going to go out there and he's going to catch a lot of balls. You don't know you don't know if he's going to get a whole lot of yards. You don't know if he's going to get the touchdowns, but he's going to be a good 10 to 12 point a game guy. So I was really high on Cooper Kupp last year. This is about where he would have been for me last year. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. These are the guys that could potentially break out, but worst case scenario, they're just very, very good all year. Do you have about the same, or what was your idea on tier 3?
Yeah, I mean, generally the same. Yeah, I think for tier 4 is more my kind of. You have a floor on those guys. These guys, I think, are higher ceiling. Their floor might be equal to the tier 4 guys, but I think their ceiling is just higher than them.
Yeah, okay. So I would say that about the same then, because like I think these are guys that can like blow the roof off, but they're going to consistently get you. They're going to be high producing for you all year. Yeah. So at number 21, absolutely love this guy. As long as Trey Lance looks as good as he did in those first couple of drives in San Francisco. Brandon Ayuk, this dude is just a stud of a wide receiver. And, I mean, he's going to be able to take the top off of defense. He's a good route runner. He's got good hands. He's big. He's strong. He's fast. He's physical. I love Brandon Ayuk. If Trey Lance to get hit the ball, this dude could be a monster fantasy this year.
So many times last year, and he's 17 on my list here, but so many times last year where they had shots open downfield that Jimmy Garoppolo just couldn't hit or didn't try because he knew he couldn't hit it. That arm talent that Trey Lance has is going to open up so much for Ayuk.
Yeah, so number 20 for me is DK Metcalf. I like DK here mainly because of his run after catch. I don't think Seattle is going to be very good. And it was, I mean, Tyler Lockett, I think he had a great relationship with Russ, but I mean we know DK is the better athlete, and so I mean I think DK can make plays for himself, and for that reason, I think they're going to force feed him some screens. He's going to catch some slant routes, maybe even a deep ball every now and then. But I mean, I think he's going to be the go-to for Drew Lock in that Seattle offense. Number 19, Michael Pitt. Geno Smith. Geno Smith.
No, I was just curious if I haven't paid attention to it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming it's going to be Drew Lock. Who knows? I mean, he's bad. Geno's bad. What do they do? I mean, if they go get Jimmy Garoppolo, I may be changing my tune. I might like Tyler Lockett more in that scenario, but
yeah,
we'll see. Number 19, Michael Pittman Jr. He's I don't want to get this construed. He's not Julio Jones, but I think he will be the Julio Jones to Matt Ryan. He's going to look for him early. He's going to look for him often. He's going to be that third down target. Matt Ryan loves a big, strong, fast, physical wide receiver that he doesn't throw to in the end zone. I would actually have him a little bit higher if Matt Ryan threw touchdowns. Matt Ryan doesn't throw touchdowns, but he's going to get 8, 9 catches a game, 120 yards, and finish the season with like 3 touchdowns. Yeah. He's going to have a monster year with no touchdowns. That's how I think he's going to go. 18, Keenan Allen. Can't stay healthy. If he does, he'd be great. 17, Mike Williams. Can't stay healthy. If he could, he'd be great. Number 16 for me, okay. Courtland Sutton. I love everything about this Denver offense. I think they're going to sling the hell out of the football. I think Russ is going to be cooking. I also think with Russ cooking, I think it's going to open up their running game. We all know I love Pookie Williams, Javonte Williams, my number 1 running back in fantasy. For me, Courtland Sutton is the DK Metcalf of this offense to Russell Wilson. I think Jerry Jeudy is going to be the possession wide receiver route runner who's going to be able to get separation every single play. Courtland Sutton is going to be more of a deep threat guy. So I have Courtland Sutton a little bit lower than Jerry Jeudy for that reason, that I think Jerry Jeudy is going to be a high target, high possession guy. Courtland Sutton's going to be your big play guy. I don't have anything to back this up. That's just what I think in my mind. I think they're both going to be very, very good. I think they're both going to be week in, week out starters, but I have Courtland a little bit below. Number 15, Tyreek Hill. I mean, I could probably put this guy even lower. I do not love him in this offense. They have a lot of weapons in this offense, and Tua might be bad. Tua might be very, very bad. So, I mean, you can't really put Tyreek much lower than 15, but it's like.
Oh, I know. I wanted to put him at 20, but I just didn't do it.
Same. I mean,
you're like,
I would so if I'm sitting there and it's like between like Tyreek Hill, Courtland Sutton, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, I don't think I'm taking Tyreek in that situation. I may come to regret it. Who knows? But number 14, CeeDee Lamb. If they don't get another receiver in Dallas, I mean, even with him being the only threat and Dak having a pretty good arm and being able to get the ball to him, I mean, he's going to be the focus of every single defense, and we just haven't seen him be that dude yet. He could be that dude, and it could not matter. He could go take over a game. But until they get a number 2 across from him or a number 3 on the field that can take some pressure off him, I have him at 14 because as of right now, it's going to be looking like a one-man show at wide receiver in Dallas, and he's going to be getting safety help, linebacker chips. I mean, he's going to be highly, highly focused on. So that dropped him down a little bit in my rankings because we still don't know when Michael Gallup's coming back. And then Jalen Tolbert did not look good in that first preseason game. And then, I mean, what else are we looking at? Noah Brown. Like, if they go out and sign like Odell Beckham tomorrow, this could all change. But, I mean, as the roster sits right now, there's no way to take the pressure off CD unless we just run the piss out of the football or we go out there with 3 tight ends. Like, that's the only thing I can think of. Number 13, I have T. Higgins. I'm higher on T. Higgins than you are, but I mean, I just think they're going to throw the ball so much, and I think that offense is going to be high paced, fast moving. The offensive line get better. I think they get better all around. I think they're going to be a high powered offense. I think they're going to score a lot of points, and I still like T. Higgins at 13 here. I think he's going to get plenty of touches, plenty of opportunities, and still be able to score you plenty of points. So
that's Can I make a quick comment on the Cincy offense?
Yeah.
Part of my reasoning was I believe it was on the Robert Mays podcast for The Athletic. he was talking about time he spent in Cincy at training camp, and that they expect to be more run heavy this year because they think teams aren't going to let them throw the ball over the field. That's part of my reasoning with T.
Yeah, I mean, but they could start out run heavy, and then if nobody can stop the run, that's going to open
they
up.
Could have told Robert Mays a crock of shit. Who knows?
I mean, it's hard to be run heavy when you have Joe Burrow, 3 great wide receivers, a decent O-line, and then, I mean, you still have one of the best running backs in the game in the backfield.
Yeah.
Like, they can do whatever they want as long as Zach Taylor doesn't shit the bed.
Yeah,
like,
Zach Taylor.
They can really do whatever they want. But, okay, moving on, number 12, DJ Moore, one of the best route runners, quickest, speediest guys in the league. Don't love his quarterback. I mean, I don't hate Baker, but, I mean, I'm not big. Baker's never really made any wide receiver that he's played with so far better than what they are. OBJ, Jarvis Landry, Austin Hooper, David Njoku, like you can just so much premier talent around Baker that have never had a great season. But I mean, DJ Moore has been with trash the past 3 years, and he still gets the catches, he still gets the yards, and he gets a couple of touchdowns. So maybe this changes for Baker. I mean, maybe this is the kind of guy he needs to really get his confidence going. And if Baker has a good relationship with somebody, I mean, I know it was 6 years ago, but I mean, we saw it in college, man. The dude can sling the rock, and whenever he's in a rhythm, I mean, he can really light it up. So I love the upside for DJ Moore, but he may be one of the lowest floors on this tier 3 list. But I think he might have the highest upside out of anybody on this list. The number 11, I have Terry McLaurin, Washington football commander team. It's another guy who'd be higher on my list if he had a better quarterback. But, I mean, Carson Wentz, the number 1 quarterback on a Carson Wentz team usually, or number 1 wide receiver on a Carson Wentz team, usually performs pretty well fantasy-wise. Whether or not you think Carson Wentz is a good quarterback doesn't matter. Michael Pittman had a good season last year. Whether I think Alshon early in his career at Philly blew up with him, and then wide receiver kind of sucked for Philly the whole time he was there. But yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be able to get the ball to Terry McLaurin. I think he's going to be Scary Terry. I mean, he's going to be a top 10, top 12 wide receiver for fantasy. Not going to do anything great, but he's going to be week in, week out, 14-point guy, 7 catches, 80 yards, and a touchdown type guy. Like,
yeah. So coming over to mine, number 22, we have death, taxes, and Brandon Cooks getting 1,000 yards. 3 absolutes of life. I mean, doesn't matter who the quarterback is. Doesn't matter who else on the team. Brandon Cooks is getting his.
Brandon Cooks has been traded for a first-round pick like 13 times now, and he still produces. Like, oh, we need 1,000-yard wide receiver who can get 80 balls and 7 touchdowns. Like, let's just go trade for Brandon Cooks.
I mean, he did it last year with rookie Davis Mills. I don't worry about this guy.
I think Davis Mills get better, and then like I thought I had Brandon Cooks like kind of low at 30, but with John Mechie going down, I think that hurts him a little bit because I think John Mechie being opposite of him, I love John Mechie going into this season, so I thought that was going to open up him a little bit, but I still like Brandon Cooks a lot.
So
I agree with you.
I expect the guy. Once we get to the sleepers, I'll talk more about it. I expect the guy opposite Brandon Cooks to have a good year too. Jalen Waddle at 21. Like I said, I want to put Tyreek Hill at 20. Just put both those Dolphins guys right where I don't know what the hell they are because their offense terrifies me.
I don't have
like
Waddle.
I love Jalen Waddle. I think with the right QB, he would be like a tier 1, tier 2 receiver, but I just don't trust him with Tua throwing the ball to him until McDaniel shows me what he's doing. There's just a trust factor there that I don't have.
Yeah, 20, I didn't have him on top 30. Allen
Robinson, this was the highest I could justify putting him myself. I wanted to put him in tier 2, but I part of it is I just love Allen Robinson because he was great for the Bears for his first 2 years, and I just put out of my memory that he just quit on the team last year because I don't need to think about bad things. I mean, he's got Matt Stafford at quarterback. First quarterback he's ever really had. This is probably the first time he's not the number 1 receiver on a team. This is going to be the first time where he is not all eyes on the defense are on him.
The kind of redemption arc that Matt Stafford got going to LA, I could see a similar thing happening with Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson's always been talked about like, he's pretty good, but it was like he was on the Jaguars and he was on the Bears, and it was like, how good would he be if he wasn't the number one option? Like, we're about to find out.
I mean, this dude can catch contested pass with the best of anyone. Yeah. I mean, it's just, he's not going to separate like crazy, but he is the definition of a possession receiver that's going to come through for you when you need him to.
We're only a year removed away from him being like a top 15 fantasy wide receiver with Mitchell Trubisky. Like, let's not act like it's been years since we've seen a good Allen Robinson. Like,
I mean, most of those catches were not easy catches. Chris Godwin, I'm not sure what the situation is with his injury. I don't care that much because I know he's going to get targets, and I know he's not out for a lot. Like, he's not going to miss a significant portion of the season. I worry a little bit about his durability. If it wasn't for his durability, he'd be higher up on here. But he's just getting nagging injuries every year. I don't know if he's missing time, but it's just that stuff adds up. There's going to be a point where he has to miss time because of it, and I'm worried that it's the reckoning is coming.
Yeah, that's another guy I left off my list for all the same reasons. So
Michael Pittman, as in Michael Pittman Sr., Michael Pittman Jr.'s father. No, I'm just joking. I couldn't fit the junior on the graphic, so I just had to leave it. But for pretty much everything you already said, Pittman,
we have him almost identical. There. You have him at your 18. I have him at my 19.
I mean, I think he has potential to blow up this year, but I know his floor is where it was last year with Wentz. You know, I mean, he's going to get targets. He's going to get chances. He's going to get contested balls thrown his way, and hopefully he gets a few touchdowns, you know, and to just toss it up to him because that's what he is. He's a massive receiver who can go up and get it.
He's a poor man's Julio Jones.
I interrupted you a little bit on Brandon Ayuk, so I'm not going to talk much about him here. I love him this year. Love him. Same. Almost had him tier 2. Darnell Mooney, if the Bears had anything else on their offense, he would be higher here. But he's going to be running around with a red flag sticking out of his jersey to every defense in the NFL, and he's still going to get targets.
The only reason why Darnell Mooney wasn't higher for me, I think they're just going to have a lot of 3 and outs. I don't think they're going to be able to keep their offense on the field. If I thought they could sustain drives, he would have been in this tier with me. But I mean, I just don't see how that Bears offense is going to sustain any sort of like consistency.
I have the same thought process. That's the worry with him. You know he's going to get targets. You know he's going to find ways to get open downfield. He always does. But it'll be inconsistent. It's going to be up and down, and it's going to be a roller coaster, especially once you factor in how run-heavy this offense is probably about to be.
Yeah.
The total volume of passes is just going to be lower in Chicago. He's going to get most of them, but it's still going to be lower. DJ Moore is very interesting to me because of Baker Mayfield. Like, he has not had much to work with that quarterback in his career, and he's almost like Brandon Cooks. He's still put up numbers every year. And so I'm really interested to see, like, I think he could blow up this year, but at the very worst, I know what this guy looks like with a bad QB, and it's still a pretty solid fantasy wide receiver. So that's an easy guy for me to pick. In like the best
quarterback he's ever had.
I think I've had him like 2 or 3 years in a row in fantasy in some league or the other. Like I always end up taking him because it's just decent value.
Especially in half point or full point PPR. I mean, the dude gets 8 catches a game no matter what, basically.
Yeah. And then Tyreek Hill at 14 here. We had him almost identical on our lists. Like like you said, it's just the Miami offense. I don't know what to make of it until we see it. And that scares me. When I'm in the first and second rounds, I want guys who bring me certainty. And the Miami offense is anything but certainty until we see it.
Yep, I agree. All right, moving on to our tier 2s. So my tier 2 guys, I mean, what else can you say other than these are the guys that are they can be your number 1 wide receiver. These are guys that you draft late first, early second. They've done it before. They'll do it again. Just great value for you all season, league winner type guys. And so at number 10, I have Deebo Samuel. He would have been in tier 1 for me if there wasn't there's so much weird wording in his contract about how much he runs the football that I think they're not going to run him like they used to, on top of having Trey Lance there and Brandon Ayuk opposite of him is a great wide receiver. I think his production is going to come down drastically. I think he's still going to get those screens, so the short passes, extension of the run game, but I don't think he's I'd be surprised if he took more than 10 carries out of the backfield, like that aren't sweeps, like out of the backfield. I'd be shocked if he has more than 10 carries this year, and that's where a lot of his production came last year. So he dropped down a little bit for me. Number 9, I have Juju Smith-Schuster. He's been a top 10 wide receiver before. He's with the best quarterback he's ever had. He's trying to get paid. That team is desperate for a number 1 option at wide receiver. I don't think it's going to be MVS. I don't think it's going to be Sky Moore. And Travis Kelce is their de facto number 1 wide receiver, but they need somebody on the outside that can get it done. I think it's Juju. I love this Chiefs offense. I was talking to Quentin about it off air not too long ago. I think this might be the best Chiefs offense we've ever seen. Yeah, the big plays with Tyreek Hill were fun and everything, but they've never had a wide receiver core this deep. That, I mean, they might have lost Mecole Hardman today. That could change everything. He did get carted off the field.
More season.
But even with Sky Moore, MVS, Juju, their slew of running backs, and then Kelce at tight end. I think this is going to be the best Chiefs offense we've seen with Mahomes, and I think that's going to be Juju at the number 1 receiver spot. I love it. Number 8, I freaking love this guy. Hard Knocks last night confirmed it for me. Amon-Ra St. Brown. This dude's an absolute stud. Jared Goff loves this man. They got Josh Reynolds. They got DJ Chark. They got Jamison Williams. It doesn't matter. It's Amon-Ra St. Brown season all day, every day. This dude's going to have 112 catches, 1,400 yards, and 16 touchdowns this year. I love Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, I'm about as high on him as I was on Cooper Kupp last year, and I was huge on Cooper Kupp last year. Granted, we didn't have a podcast then, so there's no way to prove that. But I loved Cooper Kupp last year, and that's how I feel about Amon-Ra St. Brown and this Lions offense. I love this Lions offense. I think Jared Goff's going to be good. I think their O-line is going to be good. I think DeAndre Swift's going to be good. I think TJ Hawkinson's going to be good. And they have 3 really good wide receivers, and I think Amon-Ra is going to be the lead of all of it. He seems like a leader on and off the field. He's got amazing work ethic. I think he has all the makings to be a stud wide receiver, and I think next year we're talking about him as a tier 1 wide receiver guy. Number 7, Mike Evans. Just the model for consistency in the NFL. 9 straight years, 1,000 yards. He gets the touchdowns. He gets the yards. He's probably never going to be top 3, top 4 guy, but he's going to be 5, 6 every single year. If you're picking early second, late first in a PPR league, in a 12-team league, and Mike Evans is sitting there, you gladly take him. Nothing has changed. He's just the man of consistency, Mike Evans. You got to love him. All right. Number 6, Jerry Jeudy. Okay. Number 1 wide receiver last year for separation off the ball. Didn't get the targets, get hurt. I think this guy is going to be a phenomenal route runner. I think he is the quintessential wide receiver for how Russ likes to play his game. I think Russ is going to find him early and often. I think he's going to get the bulk of the targets in that Denver offense. I could be wrong, but I think him or Cortland Sutton's going to be in this spot, and I gambled and took Jerry Jeudy. I think one of them's going to be up here.
I'm with you. I think it's a toss-up between the 2.
In my mind, it's Jerry Jeudy. You can see on your list it's Cortland Sutton. But I don't think you can go wrong grabbing either guy. I just have Jeudy higher on my list. Number 5, I have Stephon Diggs. He barely missed the cut for me. I love that offense. They just have so much going on in that offense that I don't think they need Stephon Diggs to be Stephon Diggs to reach their max potential. So it's the only reason why I have him in my tier 2. But he can very well be a tier 1 wide receiver. I just don't think they need him to be as good as they can be. So for that reason alone, he's right on the fringe for me as a tier 2 guy. But I mean, still great, still Stephon Diggs. So that's my tier 2.
For me, tier 2 guys, I don't have much of a definition on it besides it's mostly top targets in a pass-heavy offense. There's 2 guys on here who are in run-heavy offenses, but they're clear top receivers in those offenses. Starting off with an example of that, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I expect the Lions to be run-heavy, but I expect him to get the lion's share of the targets.
Jared Goff's looking good.
There's a lot to like. I don't trust Jared Goff. I know you love the man, but
I don't love him. I just think he's better than people give him credit for.
Yeah.
And I think he's been one of the few guys that consistently gets better year in and year out. And I really like him this year.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I think he's okay. But moving on. Cortland Sutton, everything you said about Jerry Jeudy, but the opposite side of it. I think the 2 are a coin toss. Someone's going to really become the number 1 in that offense. Main reason I go with Sutton is just a stronger history of doing it than Jeudy. Judy's the better athlete, the higher rated prospect, the guy who everyone expected to jump in the league and be that dude. Cortland Sutton wasn't so much that guy. I think it was a 2nd round pick, but he's done it in the league a few times already, which is why I went with him. But to me, it's a toss-up. It could go either way. Number 11, Scary Terry. Carson Wentz is going to love this dude. Carson Wentz loves to make the Rex Grossman release the dragon fuck it throws, and Scary Terry's the guy who's going to be making them too.
We actually
get penalized in fantasy if a ball's intercepted on the receiver that got thrown to. So I love Scary Terry this year.
We both have Terry McLaurin at number 11. I just have him in that tier 3, and you have him in the tier 2 is the only difference.
Gotcha.
So yeah, we feel the exact same about Terry McLaurin.
Yeah. Number 10, AJ Brown. I spoke a little bit about it earlier with Devonta Smith. They are building this offense a lot around him and what he can do with his physicality and just, I mean, they are so multiple, and I shouldn't say they're building it around him because he is so multiple. He can work in so many different schemes, in so many different ways, so many different philosophies that they're really going to try. It seems like they're going to try to evolve a lot week to week. And he is a focal point of that being able to happen. So I love him this year to get the touches, get the targets. It's just a question of can Jalen Hurts get him the ball downfield. Keenan Allen. So I want to bring up something that you said about him staying healthy. And it's a bit of a quandary out there because his first 4 years in the league, let's see, what years were that? That was 2013 through 2016, ancient history, but missed 27 games in those first 4 years.
They were all soft tissue shit too.
Since then, the last 5 years, know how many games he's missed? 2.
Really?
Two games in the last 5 years. That offense loves to pass the ball, loves to get it downfield, loves to let Justin Herbert show off that freakish arm talent of his. I love Keenan Allen there. Mike Evans, just like everything you said, just like the consistency that we talk about with Brandon Cooks, but add in more touchdowns is Mike Evans. Yeah, this dude has trees for arms. He jumps higher than anyone in the league. He's taller than anyone in the league. He's impossible to stop.
He should have won the Heisman.
Yeah, anytime you need a play in Tampa, just look at Mike Evans. Deebo Samuel. So I have a bit of a different thought process in his contract than you. I don't think Kyle Shanahan gives a shit. I think Kyle Shanahan's going to keep using him however he wants, and that's why Deebo's agent was like, no. This is getting in there.
Yeah, I mean,
because I know Kyle's going to mess him up.
It's like an extra $5 million if he gets over I think it's over 15 carries a year.
Yeah.
Which I don't know the specifics behind it. I know if he has over 500 rushing. No, wait, was it I think it's 250 rushing yards this next season. He has like a $3 million bonus.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't think Kyle gives a shit.
I don't think he does either. But I mean, I think that was. I mean, wide receivers make more money, but I think it was like, if you want me to be a running back, you're gonna pay me extra. But at the same time, like, I think they do. I mean, they're highly invested in him now, and Kyle Shanahan may not give a shit about that, but he does give a shit if Debo goes down. They don't have the cap room to go out there and get somebody else. So, like, I think he's very aware of that, and they have a lot of running backs on that team. Now, I think when it's nut cutting time and it's late in the season, and then to get shit done, absolutely, whatever it takes. But I don't think they're going to use him kind of willy nilly like they did last year. Like, let's just throw Debo back.
I can agree. That was kind of the point I was trying to make. I think his carries are going to take a hit, but I think a lot of what they're going to be doing with the run game is going to rely on him being a major threat in the run game, motioning him out wide into the backfield, stuff like that, and just being like, oh shit, now Debo's back there. Are they going to hand it off to him? If they never do it, the league's going to pick up on it. You know, that's where I'm kind of sitting with. Kyle's too much of a chess player and too competitive, I think, to just not use him. But I do agree with you. I think his carries are going to get cut down, but I also think he's going to benefit from Trey Lance having, more than a super soaker for an arm.
Yeah, and I mean, we haven't really seen Debo the wide receiver. I mean, everything we've seen out of Debo has been like wide receiver screens, slants, and running the football. So it's like, he can still do those things, but like, we haven't really seen him be an established route runner or anything else. So it's like, he's really hard to tier here.
Ultimately, for me, one of the things, and this is true for Terry McLaurin, I forgot to mention it when I was talking about him. I love players who were in a contract year all offseason. I don't care if they got a deal done already. I care that they were spending the whole offseason training like it was a contract year. Because these guys are in the best shape of their career, best shape they'll probably ever be in, because they were trying to get their big, big payday. Every player only gets one of those for the most part. Their whole life revolved around getting this payday, and I love that in fantasy. I love targeting those guys. That's one of the reasons Debo and Terry are in tier 2 for me.
Yeah, unless you're Sam Bradford or Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson's got $2 million contracts, and he hasn't played a full season in 3 years. So, moving on. Tier 1 wide receiver guys, what else can you say about them? These are your league winners. These are your ringers. These are the guys that absolutely cannot miss, won't let you down guys. I only have 4 of them. I think the pool for tier 1 is pretty slim this year. But, I mean, I think these are the guys that you get them. If you get them on your team, it's probably going to be a top 5 pick. And you feel good about it. I mean, if you're between an often injured Christian McCaffrey or one of these guys in your first 4 picks, I'm going any of these guys over any running back if I'm picking in the top 4. And I'll just run through them real quick. You know the names. Starting out, number 4, Jamar Chase. That dude. Number 3, Cooper Kupp. That dude. Number 2, Devontae Adams. A lot of people thinking he's going to drop down a little bit. I disagree. I think in this Josh McDaniels offense, with how they're going to run the ball, they're probably going to run on 2 tight ends. I think he's going to feast because there are not going to be a whole lot of opportunities to double this guy with 2 tight ends on the field, with how they're going to run the football. I think he's going to get a lot of one-on-ones, and he's got some of the best feet in the game, some of the best route running in the game. Derek Carr is more than competent quarterback. I think we could see Devontae Adams have one of his best years, if not his best year ever in this offense. I love Devontae Adams. And number 1, I have Justin Jefferson. And what can you say about him? He's just that dude. I mean, until somebody else can prove it, I think he's the best wide receiver in the game right now. He's a phenomenal route runner, can catch everything. He's big, he's fast, he's strong, he's quick. I mean, he is everything you want in a wide receiver, and he has probably the most better than average quarterback in NFL history. Like good but not great quarterback in NFL history. Like probably like Kirk Cousins is like the best of all time at just being good.
You know why Jefferson's so good?
And just being good, you can get the ball to a number one receiver a lot of times.
You know why Jefferson's so good?
Because he went to LSU. Guns up, baby.
Because Kirk Cousins grills a mistake before every game.
Shit, nah. If he's eating Kirk Cousins steaks, he's getting sick before every game with all that foil and shit on there. Get fucking aluminum poisoning.
All right. 6, Devontae Adams. I'm pushing him down a little bit just because I don't think his target share is going to be as good in Oakland. I think the chemistry is going to be fine. I think he's still going to put up numbers. But there were times in Green Bay where Aaron Rodgers was going to him 15 to 20 times a game. And I just don't think another quarterback's going to do that the same way. Even if it's Derek Carr and they're best friends. Like, I just don't – I don't think – I think it takes a lot of skill for a quarterback to be able to go to a receiver that often and find success. And I'm just not sure if Derek Carr is as skilled as Aaron Rodgers with that. Yeah. 5, Jamar Chase. I actually almost had him a notch lower in tier 2. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. The reason why I was considering it is because there were only 4 or 5 games last year where Jamar Chase was truly like a top 10 receiver in fantasy points. Now, grant, all those games, he was the number 1 in the NFL.
But he really took a step in the playoffs. I think that's where you really saw him. And, I mean, you'll see that translate. I mean, especially year 1 guys, whenever they start putting it on at the end of their first season, it's usually year 2 where they really have their coming out party. I mean, Justin Jefferson stepped on the field his rookie year and just dropped his nuts on the table and has been there ever since. But, like, outside of him, like, it's usually the guys that pick up late in the season, their rookie year, and then they go into year 2 just great.
Yeah, no, I got you. And ultimately where I ended up staying with it after, many hours of deep thought and meditation on it was, who cares if it's a roller coaster? This dude won me 2 playoff games in the championship single-handedly last year.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, at that point, it's like, okay, I don't care if he was kind of like up and down all season. I still got there.
He's a league winner.
And he did the work from there on. Number 3, this is my hot one.
Stephon Diggs at 4.
Stephon Diggs at 4. Man, I blew that intro for CD. Stephon Diggs at 4. So you might be right onto something that he doesn't have to be the dude there in Buffalo.
I love Stephon Diggs. Like I just don't think their offense is reliant on him like my other 4 guys. I think the offense relies heavily on all 4 of them.
Yeah,
basically my only distinguishing factor. But, I mean, I still love Stephon Diggs.
And ultimately, for me, with Stephon Diggs, it's like I look at that Buffalo receiver room. It got better. But it's also not full of world beaters.
No.
It's full of guys, not dudes. Stephon Diggs is still the dude there, and it's still a high-powered offense with Josh Allen throwing the football. I'm a little worried that Brian Dable's gone with that offense, but not enough to knock Stephon Diggs out of tier 1 for me. Number 3, CD Lamb. I still got a CD player in my car. It's ancient history.
I love CD Lamb. I love him so much.
I think he is going to get so many targets this year. It don't really matter if it's efficient or not. He's going to put up points. I am big on CD. The stonks are up, and I'm buying him on CD Lamb this year.
Hopefully he can catch the football. He's had drop issues, but I mean, this dude he's a playmaker, man. I mean, he encompasses that 88 number for Dallas Cowboys, following up Des Bryant, following up Michael Irvin. I mean, this dude is a big play every time he touches the ball. But, I mean, it worries me that there's nobody to take the heat off of him. He's had drop issues in the past. But, I mean, I love. I mean, he's one of my favorite players in the league right now. So, I mean, my own bias aside, I have to, I think if I wasn't a Cowboys fan and I was just a CeeDee Lamb fan, he would be in my tier 1. But like me being a Cowboys fan, just very, very apprehensive on him, especially in this offense.
You're a little too close to it. You're too close to the situation.
Yeah, with Michael Gallup healthy, I would love CeeDee Lamb. If a Cooper was still there, I'd love him. If we still had homeboy that went to Miami and signed for nothing.
Yeah, Cedric Wilson.
Cedric Wilson, man. Like if we had any of these guys, I would like him. But like Dalton, it's him and Dalton Schultz in that passing game right now.
How long is Gallup out for? Was it for 6 weeks, something like that?
He's for sure missing the week 1. We don't know.
Okay, I mean, I don't think he's going to miss more than like a quarter. Like he's not going to miss half the season. I don't think.
I would say at the absolute latest, he's back week 5.
And at that point, I trust Kellen Moore to find ways to get CeeDee the ball easily for the first few weeks.
Yeah, I mean,
and then you get Michael Gallup back, and it all starts to even out because the league hasn't adjusted to their tape yet and their plan for how they're using CeeDee.
If they use him, like he hasn't got paid yet, but if they use him like they used Cedric Wilson last year, as like they use him like he's already being used as like your number 1 big play, deep threat guy, but also your gadget guy. Mm-hmm. I mean, it puts him higher risk to lose him, but I think he would absolutely kill it in that role. I mean, because
you get them running some 21 personnel with CeeDee Lamb, Tony Pollard, and Zeke. I love the possibilities. I mean,
Cedric Wilson did some special things last year, getting all the jet sweeps, all the passes. I mean, all that stuff.
Or, I'm sorry, I meant Tony Pollard. I think I said Cedric Wilson.
No, you said Tony Pollard. You're good.
Okay.
But if they use him like they used Cedric Wilson last year, on top of him being the number 1 wide receiver, I think he'd be great for fantasy. I don't know who's going to fill that gadget role. I thought it was going to be the kid outside of it from Abilene that is from Pittsburgh.
James Washington.
State. Yeah, I thought it was going to be James Washington. He got hurt. I thought it was going to be Jalen Tolbert. Everything out of camp was that this dude looks good. Tolbert he looked terrible in that preseason game. I mean, I know it was a backup quarterback. Maybe it's different with Dak in there. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's not going to be Noah Brown. Like I don't know who's going to fill that role, and that role was like vital. Like which blows my mind why they didn't pay Cedric Wilson after how big of a role he played in that offense last year and how much he got paid in Miami. It was like, what did you offer this dude to stay in Dallas? Because he was vital to that offense last year, and signed for nothing in Miami. I think it was $7 million.
Yeah, I think it was 7-8 mil a year.
It's crazy, but I digress. I love CeeDee Lamb. Not my tier 1, but go on.
My top 2. This is a coin flip. Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp. I put Cooper Kupp at 1. I do have some concerns with Kupp coming off a deep playoff run where he did a lot of dirty work. I'm a little worried about an injury popping up here or there, but ultimately with his target share, his chemistry with Stafford, I put him 1. And just because I know in big spots, he is the dude that they go to. And I trust Stafford more to get him the ball in big spots than I trust Kirk to get Jefferson the ball in big spots. Yeah. So that's really why I did them 1-2, not 2-1, but it can really go either way.
So for me, my top 3, I mean, these could almost be a tier above Jamar Chase. Like my top 3 of Just Jefferson, Devontae Adams, and Cooper Kupp. Don't really care who I get out of those 3. If I get one of those 3, I'll be happy. The only reason why I have Kupp 3 in my list, I just don't think he's going to repeat as the number 1 receiver in the league. I mean, it just rarely happens. So,
yeah,
he's 3 for me for that reason, basically alone.
Yeah. You want to run through sleepers real quick?
Yeah, All right. So I wouldn't really call these sleepers. These are guys you're targeting later in rounds that you don't want to overdraft, but if you can grab them, these are guys I would say not sleepers, but first off the bench guys. These are the guys that you have your wide receivers set, you have your flex set, You have good running backs. And like this is your first off the bench guy, the guy that's sitting there waiting, and they could be coming off injury, they could be coming off suspension, but like 7th, 8th round is when I would start having my eye on some of these guys. Some of them are much lower that you can get, but I mean these are my top guys that I think are going to come on strong for you at the end of the season, but they're going to sit on your bench a lot early on.
Don't rely on them week 1, but you might be able to rely on them week 10.
These could be league winners. Yeah. Potential league winners. Starting out, I'll start out with the two obvious ones. DeAndre Hopkins, Michael Gallup. Don't know when Michael Gallup's going to be back, but we do know when he is back, that offense is very explosive. He is the clear-cut number 2 in that offense. He is a playmaker. He'll go up and get the jump ball. He's a deep ball threat. He's good run after the catch. Just a very, very, very good wide receiver. And not knowing a timetable as of August 17th of 2022, I have him in the spot. If we know that he's going to be back week 2, potentially week 3, I would probably put him – I'll probably go ahead and put him in my tier 4 and draft him earlier and figure something out those first 2 weeks. But as of right now, he's there. DeAndre Hopkins, 6 weeks. But when he comes back, he's that dude.
Yeah.
Like,
Jalen Tolbert in Dallas, I love him. I mean, I think even once Gallup's back, Tolbert is that prototypical X wide receiver that really fits a guy that you're going to have on the field almost all the time. Like, they're probably going to run a lot of 11 personnel, but even when they're not, I think Tolbert's going to have a spot out on the field just because he should be a good run blocker. He should be a guy that can win one-on-one against a corner with his size speed combo. And I think he's a guy that's going to be out there getting targets, getting opportunities, and it'll grow as the season goes.
Yeah. And next up, we had the 2 Jets wide receivers, Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson. I think one of them is going to be good. I don't know which one it's going to be. And Zach Wilson's going to miss early in the season, so you won't even see Zach Wilson with these guys until probably week 2, week 3, week 4, something like that. I guess he went in for surgery today and should be a 3 to 4 week recovery. So, I mean, we'll still see him early in the season, but I think one of these guys is going to be good. Don't know who it's going to be.
If I'm being honest, I think with Wilson in there, I think Elijah Moore is where I'd lean. Just because I think he's going to lean towards the guy closer to the line of scrimmage out of the slot. And
they've had a year together already.
Yeah, and they have that chemistry built up. You want to take Olave and Williams, and then I'll take the rest?
Yeah, so Chris Olave, he was my favorite wide receiver coming out of this draft. Ended up on the Saints. Don't love Jameis Winston, but Jameis Winston has produced some of the greatest wide receiver fantasy seasons of all time. So who knows? But, I mean, I love Chris Olave. He's a great route runner, great possession guy. He's a huge, huge red zone threat. And if Jameis can get him the ball, they have another guy there that hasn't played in 4 years that used to be the best wide receiver in football. Maybe throw him on this list. I don't know, but I love Chris Olave. Jameis Williams, Detroit. Okay, I'm big on Detroit. I like Jared Goff. I like this. I love this offense. I want every piece of this offense. I want Jameis Williams. I want TJ Hawkinson. I want DeAndre Swift. I want Jamal Williams. I want DJ Chark. I want Josh Reynolds. I want Amon-Ra St. Brown. I want them all. I think this offense is going to be incredible, and I think that defense is going to be terrible. So I think that offense is going to be on the field early, often, and a lot of snaps for that offense. And I think there's going to be a lot of guys that feed. So, and Jameson Williams is a guy that you saw him in Alabama, can absolutely take the top off, absolutely torch Georgia's defense. Georgia's defense that was giving up 6 points a year. Jameis Williams had 2 touchdowns in the SEC championship game against them before he got hurt in the first quarter. Dude's an absolute stud. I love Jameis Williams and that Detroit offense.
Yeah. Danny Gray out in San Francisco. I've said it before. I'll say it again. If you've never seen this kid run, stop what you're doing right now. Go on YouTube. and watch his highlights.
He makes
Special
fast
speed,
people look not fast.
special speed, and you know he's going to get open with Ayuk and Debo eating up attention, plus that run game. I mean, I'm taking a flyer on this kid. It might be a bust. It might be outstanding.
He's basically a
I
forgotten
don't
piece.
know if it's
and he
going to
might
be
the
anywhere
most-
in the middle. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say he's like a forgotten piece in that offense, and he might be the most physically gifted person in that offense.
Yeah.
With a
Flies.
the entire offense is just built around freaks, and he may be the freakiest freak out of all the freaks.
Love Danny Gray, man. Sky Moore. 2 Y's in Sky. Sky I Moore. Out in KC. Sky. This guy's just a gadget. And I think Andy Reid's going to find ways to use in creative ways, outstanding ways to get him the football. And I think he's going to get better and better as the season goes on. He's a guy that might stay on your bench for a few weeks, not doing much. And then all of a sudden, boom, he's going off. This is probably I have more faith in Sky Moore than Danny Gray personally, just because of what that offense is, what Andy Reid has been for years, and how good he is at getting the ball to playmakers. Robbie Anderson, this guy's QB proof, man. He's just going to catch 80-yard touchdowns here and there every single year.
Yeah, so to me, Robbie Anderson is a guy that you could start him any given week, and you're either going to get 16 points out of him or nothing.
Yeah. But
like,
you know what? I've had better luck with him in the waiver wire in the past. So he's a guy who I'd love to just sit on my bench, and if I need someone, I'll just play that game of roulette and see what happens.
Yeah, and then, I mean, if you're playing PPR and he gets that 80-yard touchdown, you're already at 15 points.
Yeah.
Like,
Now, you want to talk about opposite ends of the spectrum? You go from Robbie Anderson to Jacoby Myers. Jacoby Myers might be the most consistent fantasy receiver of all time. 8 points every week. No doubt about it. This guy's getting his 8 points.
yeah,
Not often more than 8. Not often less than 8.
You know what kept him off my list?
What?
Devontae Parker. I love Devontae Parker. He was basically like 31 for me.
Yeah.
And I think Devontae Parker is Jacoby Myers on steroids in that offense.
So Jacoby plays mostly in the slot, so I'm fine with both of them going off. But
what I don't like about that offense is that nobody knows. For one, nobody knows what offense they're going to be running. Like, you have 2 defensive coordinators vying for the offensive coordinator job.
No, Joe Judge is a special teams coordinator, sir.
Okay, so you have a special teams coordinator and a defensive coordinator fighting for the job to call offensive plays in a Bill Belichick system. Like, it's nothing makes sense. So, like, it's hard to touch that wide receiver room. But for me,
I don't know when nothing makes sense.
Yeah,
Jacoby Myers gets 8 points.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, I don't know what the ADP looks like between the two of them.
Jacoby Myers is down to like 140, I think. I mean, you're getting him late. I'm sitting him on my bench, kind of like Robbie Anderson, where I'm saying, I don't want to play roulette. I just want a guy who I can put in and know that I'll be okay.
Yeah, I don't know what his ADP is compared to Devontae Parker is what I was saying. I was saying if they have similar ADP, like I love Devontae Parker, but if Devontae Parker is going 60 picks ahead of Jacoby Myers, then I love the value for Jacoby Myers in that situation.
Jacoby Myers, Mike Evans, and DJ Moore are guys who I feel like I get every single year just because they're undervalued by ADP. And just they always work out for me.
That's what I look at more than anything. I mean, when I come out with my top 50 big board, like if you're in any drafts with me, like, yeah, I may take somebody else that like I don't really follow my big board in the first 5 rounds because like Javonte Williams, for example, if I'm picking 3, I'm not taking Javonte Williams at 3 because I know I can get him later, even though he's my number 1 player. Like, I know I can get him in the 2nd round. So why would I pass on a guy that I didn't think I could get? So I mean, I love following ADP more than anything because that's where you're gonna get the most value from. And if you make your own board and you follow ADP, like, find out where you can get your value. And even if you have your own board, you don't even have to follow your board. Just know when is the latest I can take this guy and still get him on my team, but never. If you're on the fringe of like he may or may not make it back around to me, and you're highly convicted on him, go ahead and take him there. But if you have a guy ranked 3 on your wide receiver list and he's going ADP 70, don't take him as the wide receiver 3. Wait on him for a little bit and then go get him. So we're not whenever we talk our list of guys, our top 50 and stuff like that, it's not clear cut and dry. You just go down the list 1 through 50.
Don't go taking Jacoby Myers in the first 6 rounds. 8 rounds. 10 rounds.
And that's I had this conversation with one of my buddies that was listening the other day. He was like, so if you have the number 1 overall pick, you're picking Javonte Williams? I was like, no, if I have the number 1 overall pick, I don't know who I'm taking, honestly, but I'm taking Javonte Williams at the end of the 2nd round.
Yeah,
because
you can strategize who you're taking number 1 overall because you know you want your end go get Javonte Williams.
Yeah, and I know like everything I've seen on Javonte Williams, he's going late 3rd, early 4th. So or late 2nd, early 3rd is kind of what I'm saying right now for him. So if I'm picking top 5, I'm not taking him. But if I'm sitting there at like 8 or 9 and one of my receivers isn't there, I may take him 9 or 10, but like it'd be a rare instance. Like I may just miss out on him. But I think in most leagues I will have him on my team.
Fantasy football is an art.
It is an art. So it's not clear cut and dry just because they're number 1 on your big board. You have to go get them. It's not like the NFL. It's like you don't just take the next guy up. I mean, you got to look at ADP and you got to look at where you can get the value for them because you could be wrong. We're not geniuses. Like we could be wrong. So. But I think that's going to be it for this week, unless you got anything else.
Nope, that's all I got.
All right. Well, if you're watching, like and subscribe on the YouTube. Give us a comment below. Let us know what you think. Who is your number 1 wide receiver for the 2022 football season? And then let us know where we're right, where we're wrong. And whatever you do, don't sleep on the Lions.
Don't do it.